Check the mic, we're going live. Stories told, they rise and dive. Topics fresh with every spin. You won't guess what's coming in. Every week a new surprise. Minds awake, never lies. Conversations bold and free. Tune in now, just wait and see. This podcast is uncalled for. Catch us here, there's so much more. Laughs and tales you can't ignore. A journey that will leave you floored. In the night or in the day, just press play, we're on our way. Voices sharp, opinions bright, talking through the day and night. Guests and hosts.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast, and I'm pleased to have Richie Wolfe joining us on the podcast today. Richie, how's it going?
Hey, good. Good to see you, Mike.
Good to see you too. So for the context of our listeners, we worked together at Johnson County Community College. In fact, you were my boss.
Yeah, there for a year.
Yeah.
As
doing student media.
Wild to look back on.
Mm-hmm.
But we made it. We're still doing media.
Yeah. That's true. In fact, you were there when I started my first podcast with a Sunflower Brew. Recall that?
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah, that was my first. This podcast we're doing right now is my third, and fun times. And on the subject of me, I just did a couple of days at playing Comic-Con. One of those days was doing video.
Oh, wait, for your podcast or?
No. I'm going to do a wrap up on the podcast for playing Comic-Con, but at playing Comic-Con, I got to do a little video work.
That's great.
Had a lot of fun. Doing that.
Did you interview people out there,
or? That wasn't my intention, but they just said, you're doing video, just go out, get as much as possible, just people interacting with everything.
Yeah.
It was definitely not the same caliber of material that Sam and Bill did.
Yeah.
And I've had both those guys on this podcast too. So.
Oh, no way! That's cool.
Yeah, Sam was an interesting one, and Bill actually caught at SalsumCon, which is another local convention. He's doing anime voice work now.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
Mm-hmm. Doing really well for himself. And then Justin Pemberton's the other JCAF person I've had on, and he's a sports guy, so we talked sports for a good chunk of time.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you're getting everybody back together.
I know, right?
I'm glad. I was stoked to hear that you had a podcast, and I'm glad you reached out.
Yeah. So one of the reasons we're here today is you have a book coming out, or I should say it's already out. So I will listen on the Spotify, but it's called. Yeah, go and tell us about your book.
Sure. So I just released a book, and it's called "Home Is Where the Heart Lands." How pedaling for 5 months brought me closer to home. Mm-hmm. And so it's a memoir, and it's about my journey bicycling around the perimeter of the United States in 2017. So I went through 30 states and parts of Canada, and just kind of circled the whole country by bicycle. Just sort of how I saw it back then was like, well, this is my 5-year plan, and I accomplished it, and just left work and just went on my bike for 5 months. I mean, I knew I was going to be out there as long as I needed to be, but I gave myself 6 months and did it faster than I thought. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the book is just it's me looking back at the journey, looking back at my journals, and kind of taking how I've grown as a person and my thoughts and perspectives that I've grown into since that bike ride, and also because of that bike ride, and kind of bringing all the things I learned and all the people that I met on the journey, and bringing it all together, kind of like this trip deeply moved me and changed me, and it's also just like a very difficult thing. So I like to think the book is more funny than heartwarming, just because riding a bicycle for 12 hours a day for 5 months is very uncomfortable.
I could believe it. Yeah. So, tell me about some of the places you visited on your bike trip.
Yeah, so I went to 30 states,
Mhm.
and you know, some of the notable places I went to were either like national parks, or my favorite city that I visited was Montreal, Canada.
Nice.
Montreal, Quebec. I'd
Mhm.
never been there and didn't really know much about it except for that it was French Canadian,
Mhm.
and I was really surprised by that city, just because it was very, very European. I wasn't expecting that, but as I learned more about the history of Montreal, and they were actually celebrating their 350th year while I was there, and I was like, oh wow, so there's a lot of history here. It was kind of I just enjoyed that city as a metropolitan area. They had a lot of bike infrastructure,
Mhm.
a lot of good coffee, a lot of good parks, and it just kind of felt different than every other city. But yeah, and I got to spend my birthday weekend in Montreal, so I think that was special too. But I mean, I went through New York City, I went through Philadelphia,
Mhm.
I went through Hartford, Connecticut, I went through Washington D.C., Baltimore. I went through Atlanta, not straight through the city. Thankfully, I was on the outskirts,
Right.
but went through Phoenix. I started in San Diego,
Mhm.
went across, went up, went back across, and went down, and ended in San Francisco.
Okay.
So I got to see a lot of major cities, which I was very stoked about. But gotta just kind of like discover, yeah, natural areas in the United States that I'd never seen before. Like I went through Glacier National Park, and that was one of the most beautiful. I think it's one of the most beautiful national parks in America. Honestly, just all of the mountains and the snow and the glaciers and the lakes. Like it just looks pristine,
Mhm.
and when you look at it, you want to like write a song about it. Just like stunningly beautiful. But down in the Texas desert, so I went. I rode Texas from east to west all the way across El
Mhm.
Paso to Houston,
Mhm.
and I didn't know where I was going. I was just kind of hitting random towns that happened to have a campground on the way. But out in the panhandle of Texas and New Mexico, there's the Carlsbad Caverns, which is just like
Mhm.
a natural underground cavern. I'd never been, but I also didn't realize I was like going through it. I kind of accidentally passed it, and that I didn't go into the caverns. I kind of passed them because they're so far off the road. But near Carlsbad is another place called Guadalupe Mountain,
Mhm.
and Guadalupe that's a national park, and it's an 8,000, I believe it's 8,000 foot mountain just in the middle of the Texas desert. It was the most random. Like I had no clue I'd be climbing elevation and like going up into the mountains out there in the desert. But it was a fun surprise. I was really happy to have found a place like that and got a camp right next to the mountain in the national park in the middle
Mhm.
of the desert, because I had like 120 miles of nothing before that, so it was kind of a pleasant surprise. But yeah, there's
Cool.
several places like that I just felt were really beautiful, and That's kind of what was fun about being on bike. You just kind of like, oh wow, I never would have seen this if I didn't take
Hmm.
this random road, or if I wasn't at the ground level. Because that's versus like compared to being in a car, you see so much more on a bike or by foot.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's one of the reasons I like Amtrak so much
Yeah.
is you get to see a lot of really cool scenery, especially
What?
going
Go ahead.
across, especially yeah, going across Missouri on the Missouri River Runner from
Yeah.
Kansas City to St. Louis. That's a very nice routes. And then from St. Louis to Houston, it's fun. Um, yeah, you get to see some pretty cool stuff. And then they kick you off the train in Longview, Texas. You got to take a
Hmm.
bus all the way down. And it stops in a little town called Nacogdoches, Texas, um, right next to I forget what the place was, but it's a little restaurant there. And just down the street from Steve F. Austin State University. And then drops you off at the Amtrak station downtown Houston. And yeah, good luck navigating Houston unless
It's huge.
it's a gigantic. I spent a week down there just before my grandmother passed. This was before I went back to school and we worked together. But I was there for a week uh, before my grandmother passed. She lived in Spring, which is a northern suburb
Yeah.
of Houston, still within Harris County. By the way, that county is huge. Took 2 hours to get from her house to downtown Houston, then tack
Wow.
on another two to get out to NASA.
Was that taking a bus or
No, that's no, I rented a
you had a
car for that
car?
week. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Is your family all from Texas?
My mother was, um, itself, also have relatives in Baton Rouge
Mm-hmm.
on that side. My dad's side's from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Uh,
East Coast.
yeah.
You got the East Coast accent. You have a little bit of an
That's
East
what
Coast
people keep
baseball
telling me.
comment.
In fact, someone told me that just the other day at Comic-Con. I noticed from there, uh, I was doing the board game check-in and check-outs for
Yeah.
people to play board games. And part of the process was we had to take everyone's IDs, and one had a Pennsylvania ID. And I'm like, I've never heard of this town. Yeah, it's just outside Pittsburgh. And, oh, yeah, my dad's from Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. I'm going to Pittsburgh at the end of April. That's
Hmm.
my bike ride this year. There's a trail that goes from Pittsburgh to Washington D.C. called the Great Allegheny Passage.
The
And so
Great
that's going to be
Allegheny
my
Passage, perhaps.
Allegheny. Yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it until one of my coworkers told me about it. So we're going to go take 7 days on the trail
Cool,
here in
cool,
about a month.
cool.
But
So yeah, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania is where you'll find Pittsburgh. The Allegheny is one of the three rivers.
okay.
So this always bugs the heck out of me because we all know they form the two rivers, the Allegheny and Monongahela,
Hmm.
form the Ohio, and it's easy to tell which one's the Ohio because there's a place in Pittsburgh called the Point that points in the direction of the Ohio where the two rivers meet. I never could for the life of me figure which one's the Allegheny, one's the Monongahela. I think it's the northern one is the Allegheny, and this other one's the Monongahela. So,
It's so hard to say.
hmm.
Tongue twisters with all those old. I'm assuming it's like native titles, right? Tribal
Yeah,
titles, or
those are like native or yeah words of Native American origin and everything. Certainly Monongahela, I think, would be.
Mhm.
I think we're living in a part of the country we have Olathe.
Yeah, we had Black Bob.
Yeah, we have yeah Lenexa, Shawnee, uh, Tonganoxie,
Yep,
Osawatomie. That's our that's our deal. Yeah,
definitely. What other Amtrak's have you taken? I love taking trains myself, and
yeah.
I I never knew that
Hmm.
you had gone that way before.
Yeah, yeah. So the Missouri River Runner, that's the train that goes across
Hmm.
Missouri from Union Station. It can't stay in it. They'll make stops in Independence, Lee Summit.
Yep.
Uh, I think Warrensburg. It's been a while since I've ridden it.
Yeah.
It will stop in Jefferson City and continue on. It'll
What the
stop
town of Washington is
the
a
town of
good
Washington,
stop.
yeah,
Hmm.
and it will stop in St. Louis at their new multi modal. So I can get off there. I could take a bus, or I could take the Metrolink, and
Yep.
and then and then the other route, I forget what it's called, but it's overnight going from St. Louis across Arkansas, and then the morning is when it hits
Oh,
Longview, and it's in Longview. You get on the bus all the way to Houston, and then
yeah.
back. Yeah,
Okay, so those are the only two routes you've taken then?
those are the only two Amtrak
Okay.
routes I've taken. Uh, um, Flying, yeah, that's. I believe you may have heard that story about my last time flying.
Oh yeah,
Minneapolis.
it is.
Well,
It's my least favorite type of travel is
yeah.
flying.
Well, A, because it's so expensive anymore,
Hmm.
and B, it can
Inconvenient.
be, as my Minneapolis story
Yeah.
uh, point clearly shows, it can be just convoluted and
Oh
everything.
yeah,
So, yeah.
absolutely. Well, I've taken some of the cross country trains because in 2014 I rode my bike from San Francisco to San Diego,
Hmm.
and how I got home was on the Southwest Chief, and so that was my first cross country. It's like a 34 hours or something through the
Sounds about
desert.
right. Sounds about right.
Yes.
We should do a better job, but the way Amtrak is set
Oh
up,
yeah, it's
yeah,
not
that's
gonna.
just.
Not
But
anytime
like I
soon.
said, it is very picturesque. You get nice
Yeah.
views and everything.
But
So.
then I can't remember what this one's called, but there's one that goes from Oakland
Mhm.
to Omaha, all the way to Chicago. All these trains go to Chicago.
Yeah, it seems like
Um,
Chicago's a big hub. Yeah.
yeah, but so when I finished my ride in 2017, I took the Oakland to Omaha, and that
Hmm.
one is great because it goes through Utah. It goes through, yeah, so it like goes through the near Mount Shasta in California. It
Hmm.
goes near there. Then it goes through Utah. And just Utah is beautiful. And then it
Hmm.
goes over Winter Park, over the pass through Colorado, and then through Denver. And
Hmm.
so I feel like that one is gorgeous and like completely worth a trip. Then was it 2 years ago now, or 2 Septembers ago, I wanted to revisit my northern route for my bike ride because
Hmm.
there's an Amtrak that goes all the way across US 2 basically. So I flew to Minneapolis,
Hmm.
hopped on the train at 11 at night, and then went all the way across to Seattle. And that one's called the Empire Builder,
Hmm.
and that one's cool. Like once you get through North Dakota, it's cool because you go over Glacier, and then all of eastern Washington is just like gorgeous. It's completely through the woods and next to rivers and in the mountains, and then you go all the way to the coast, and then you cut south to
Hmm.
Seattle. So you actually get to run along the ocean for about an hour, which I wasn't expecting. So the Empire Builder is a fantastic train if you're ever looking for just like a little vacation.
Hmm.
And then you could take the train down the coast too.
Right. Good deal. Good deal. Yeah, that sounds like a good time. And yeah, once again, I prefer Amtrak to flying, and
Yeah.
I don't. I hopefully it doesn't get cut, but we'll see. Um, Driving is always acceptable, although and yeah, it can be a pain in the butt too. It's a 4 hour drive, Kansas City to
Yeah.
St. Louis, and and all that. So, but that is on my to-do list eventually with the podcast is to tour the country myself, and
You should.
I absolutely should. Because think about it, I'll put it this way: the furthest west I've ever been, San Antonio.
Mm,
Yeah. Furthest north, Minneapolis. Furthest east, I've been to DC and the Hampton Roads, Norfolk, Virginia Beach.
there you go.
Yeah. Uh,
Well,
did you happen to hit Norfolk during your trip or?
I don't think I did. No. I was a little. I might have been a little more inland. Um, I can't think. I can't really think of where Norfolk is geographically, but I don't believe I went through it.
So Norfolk is basically like right on the coast of the Atlantic, right next, pretty much as Chesapeake Bay opens into the
Okay.
Atlantic. It's principally known, and the reason I was there in the first place was on a ROTC trip in high school. I
Yeah.
was a Navy ROTC, and we went there and toured all the naval bases and everything. And so Norfolk, Virginia Beach, the the community is collectively called Hampton Roads. So, and it's not too far from the North Carolina border.
Yeah, I can't remember what city I came in through, but I remember I was cutting very inland
Mhm.
to get to DC. I'm trying to think, where was I? Yeah, so I stayed in Richmond, Virginia. So that's kind of the route I came in
Mhm.
from. I was basically coming in from like Raleigh, Durham, and
Right.
then over to Richmond, then to DC. So I
Cool.
probably wasn't too close to Norfolk.
Yeah, that's still pretty cool. Yeah.
That was a good part of
Checks
the
notes.
ride.
Raleigh Durham should be on my list. That's
It's a good spot.
yeah, that's Duke University,
Uh
and
huh.
I'm good. Yeah, Duke, North Carolina, North Carolina State, all within that metropolitan area. So
Yeah. The what's the third? Isn't there like a third town? It's Raleigh Durham, but then there's like another
Chapel
place.
Hill is the other one.
Chapel
That's
Hill. Yeah.
that's the University of North Carolina. Yeah.
Yep. But it never gets like unless you live there, you don't really like hear Chapel Hill.
Right. Right. Well, good deal. Um, what overarching lesson should people take away from your book other than hearing about all the cool places you've been to? So,
Yeah, I think if you were to get something from my book, like I'd hope that it's inspiration to go travel, or inspiration to just like do something that feels like uncomfortable, or like kind of get over the hump of what of the thing something you might be afraid of and just like doing it,
mhm,
because it's like with travel, just I like to travel to just go show up in the place and like figure it out. I don't like to like plan it too much because I want to
mhm,
kind of experience places from the ground level. But yeah, I'd hope that people would see how I did my ride and just believe in themselves that like, hey, I can go travel. I can get on a plane, or I can get on a train, or I can get on a bike and take a weekend somewhere and have a really good time, like just for the sake of seeing a new place, without like overthinking it and trying to like experience a place for what it is. But yeah, I'd hope that people would want to believe that they can do something that maybe they're afraid to do, or
mhm.
believe that they can like overcome hard circumstances. And I know uh, being on a bike is being on a bike in the desert is a little bit different than other
Right.
hardships we may feel in life, but yeah, I'm hoping that maybe that is something that people will see it like, oh, if this guy can put up with this. It's like maybe I can too, but I won't
Right.
do anything as hard to myself.
Good deal. Good deal. And we are close to running out of time for this recording, but I guess those are good last words to go by. And yeah,
Sure, yeah. Check out the book. It's called "Home Is Where the Heart Lands." It's available on Audible and Hoopla and Libby and Spotify. Then the physical book and all I have it's digitally too on Amazon. So it's wolfsdenwriting.com, and that's WOLFES denwriting.com, and it has all the links to whether you want a print book, an ebook, or audio book.
good deal. Good deal.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
Thanks for coming, Richie, and to our audience, Adam, we'll talk to you next time.
Totally. Have a good one. Bye.
This podcast is Uncalled For, is hosted, produced, and edited by myself, Mike Chernevsky. Our opening music is the This Podcast is Uncalled For theme, created at suno.com, suno.com. And our outro music is Havana by Andrew R. Codeman. This is licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 International License, and you can find this music at freemusicarchive.org.
Please support the podcast and purchase our exclusive Uncalled For merchandise. T-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and so much more. Go to www.cafepress.com/uncalledforpod. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.